Okay, so I was getting my hair cut earlier, and I just kept thinking, like, I just have this weird thought, like, every time I get my hair cut, and it made me wonder, like, what are like the weird things? Okay, so the apocalypse hits, right?
Hmm.
It's gonna happen. I
Sure.
don't know if it's gonna be AI or whatever that takes us over. But when the apocalypse hits and all hell breaks loose, like what are just like random things that could happen that would be just awkward? And for me, I just keep thinking every time I get a haircut, I'm like, dude, if the world ends right now,
Hmm.
uh, the guy doing my hair is just gonna stop midway through, and he's gonna probably run,
Oh, I
and
see.
then I'm gonna be stuck with like just looking like a total idiot with like a terrible haircut. And I feel like that's almost like double worse in the apocalypse because like you got to worry about surviving, but also like that's the last thing you want to worry about. You don't want to look like a complete idiot.
Well, and you have to imagine, like, in a post-apocalyptic world, you're going to have to traverse the terrain in a different way, and you can't look like shit doing that. I mean, you
Yeah,
can, I guess, but
you're not going to be able to barter with anybody. They're,
no.
that's going to be like, I mean, maybe it'll break the ice where people will be like, why do you have like a flat top
Well,
or a
not
bowl cut or whatever it is? Like,
well. What's that going to look like on the open market too? If you need to get a haircut, like, what is the market rate in post-apocalyptic America for a haircut? Right now, you could probably get away with $30 to $40, depending on where you go. And I can just hear the chat now going, "Oh yeah, what do you go to Supercuts?" And yeah, I do. Okay. And I know the guy's name. Actually, I don't. I go to a barber and I have to tune him out
so you're
because
you're used to like terrible haircuts, so it's not a problem for you.
yeah,
You just
sure.
you have that 24/7.
But I'm adaptable is what I'm saying. I'm saying if the apocalypse comes and my hair is half shag, half buzzed, nobody's gonna look at me and go, "Well, that's different for Eli." They're gonna go, "Oh, this is a Tuesday." It just so happens that the apocalypse happened. So I think yeah. I mean, that's a great question though. I think the larger implications of situations in which you're in when the apocalypse happens. So when you say apocalypse, do you mean like like the sky turns to fire and
Yeah, I guess it would have to be something
like
abrupt,
the
obviously,
rapture.
because it'd be like you have to react instantly. People are gonna run. So if you picture like aliens land and blow things up, or like Godzilla, or like a zombie outbreak, or yeah, some kind of natural disaster that's crazy, like a tornado sweeps across LA or something like that.
Hmm.
That would be like everyone would just drop what they're doing and have to react to it.
Well, I'll tell you what, for me, the most awkward interaction would be if a Jehovah's Witness came to my door and I was talking to them and the rapture happened. Because if they didn't get taken, then I'm like, you're a hypocrite because there's something in your life. There's something that your house isn't clean, and you're at my door telling me that I need to clean up my house.
You're all, I rest my case, Jehovah's Witness.
I'm like, look, do you want to revise your pitch here? Because I mean, that's my neighbor right there, and he's a zombie. So
You're all,
what do we,
look, I didn't get taken by the rapture either, but this means we're on the same ground.
and
We're both wrong.
And what's up with that hair? Let's talk about that. I mean, what's going on there? You're gonna have an uphill battle in the apocalyptic world. But yeah, that's an interesting question, man. I don't know. There's a ton of there's a ton of situations you could be in that are really really awkward.
First of all, Dana Dane doesn't believe that supercuts still exist.
Well, it does. So he's
Maybe
wrong.
maybe in Garden Grove they still, maybe there's like a
Whoa,
couple
whoa,
left in Garden
whoa,
Grove.
whoa, bro! That you just gave my GPS, dude. Everybody thought I was in Stanton or Buena Park, dude. Now they can pinpoint where I'm
You were
living.
claiming Stanton before this?
No, I've never claimed Stanton. I'm not Vince.
We all know, yeah.
Speaking of that, really quick, I hear Whiskey Vince is in the house tonight. Is that true? Whiskey Vince, you there?
Oh,
Oh, Stan, no way. I saw what whiskey you're drinking. Nobody in Stan drinks that nice bottle of
yeah.
whiskey, dude. Hmm.
It's hot, dude.
Unmute myself. Hey, Stanton Whiskey Vince here. I unmuted the wrong one. I am sweating. I'm so glad I'm not on camera this week. But I am sipping on some whiskey and glad to be here. And
you got your whiskey back.
I
It
got my
seems like you're
whiskey,
going
dude.
with that branding of being Whiskey Vince pretty hard.
We'll see how the night goes, dude. It's 95-degree weather plus whiskey in a room without AC. I'm just going to be profusely sweating.
What goes better to get? What two things could be better for each other?
Yeah,
Sweating and
what
whiskey.
really makes dehydration more of an option than those two things?
Make sure you don't go on the rocks either. Just go straight up.
Just boiled whiskey.
Put it out in the sun first for a couple hours.
Yeah, just let the mosquitoes suck you dry. That's Vince. What do you think is what situation can you see being awkward in the middle of an apocalypse?
I was just typing in the chat, me calling AMC, being like, "Hey, I know Godzilla's kind of trampling around. Are you guys still open to see Barbie Hammer this weekend? Because I already
Nothing
purchased
will
my
stop
tickets."
me.
Yeah.
Well, do you get a refund if it's doesn't exist? Maybe if you're on the phone with customer service too, and it's like, because whenever I have to do that for something, like it's like a 45-minute process. So like imagine being on like minute 41 and then the apocalypse hits. I feel like I would try to like keep it going
That would
because I'm
piss me
like
off.
I don't want to stop at that point. It's like you've come that far.
I kind
Well,
of feel like
and
we're in a
like, what if
culture.
the apocalypse caused like because that's the worst thing ever, right? When you're on hold for 20 plus minutes and then the call drops and they don't have the decency to call you back. That would piss me off.
Oh,
If
they're not going to call you back.
I would be outraged. I don't care. I don't care what the situation was. I'd be outraged if I was on the phone for 40 minutes and that minute 41 when they came back, they're like, okay, sorry about the wait. And then the apocalypse hit and then the call dropped. I would like that would be it for me.
That's what
I
I'm
don't know that
saying.
I'd
Yeah.
recover from that.
And then you'd have to judge the apocalypse where you're like, okay, is this just like a week long thing? Because if like it's only like a mildly bad apocalypse, that means like your bank account's still going to matter. Like you still got eventually you got to go back to your job. But if it's like a really bad apocalypse, then it's like all bets are off, nothing matters, like money's irrelevant. So it's like maybe spur of the moment you got to decide which one it is so you know how to approach it.
Personally, if I'm going to go through an apocalypse, I want the four horsemen. I want it to be as bad as humanly possible because then I can be like, I don't have to worry about going to work tomorrow, right?
You don't have to pay your student loans back if it's the four
Yeah,
horsemen apocalypse. So like no one's gonna pay him at that point. So it's like
nobody's
you
gonna
don't
need
have to either.
nobody's gonna need corporate housing when the sky is full of fire, okay, and there's demons riding on horseback, just the harbingers of souls. Like I don't have much to worry about at that point. Um, but yeah, interesting thought, and I love. Number one, I'm jealous that you have the ability to zone out like that during your haircut. I'm usually in a room full of people that talk, so it's a little bit tougher to zone out. I'd love to zone out. I think the
Well,
experience is like it's like a spa situation.
you got I mean it's supercuts, they don't sit around talking about philosophy, but in most barbershops, if you go
Depends.
there, they really hit some hard hitting issues, you
It's
know?
not so much philosophy talk as, was Ricky Henderson robbed in the 80s when he clearly stole that 35th base in a 3-game series. I'm just like, I can't hang with this dude. I don't know. I know enough about sports to get through a conversation, but not if you're referencing a timeline before I was born.
Yeah, no, that is. We got some interesting comments. We got Daner Dane. Dr. Daner Dane is giving us the breakdown of alcohol inhibits the production of antidiuretic. It's not diarrhea. I know that.
Diuretic.
Diuretic, making you dehydrated.
Makes you pee more.
So I guess Vince, don't take my advice on that. It makes sense.
Do you know that, and Dane, if I'm wrong about this, please correct me in the chat. Did you know that when people go into like radiated areas, which I don't know how often that happens, but they'll drink vodka because it's a diuretic and it makes you pee, which like you get rid of that radiation that your body stores. It like gets rid of it. Did you know that? Did you know that that's what they do?
He said yes.
I mean, it won't completely, like, if you're in an irradiated place and you don't have protection, you're royally screwed. But I'm just saying, it helps. It helps to drink some vodka, and that comforts me.
I need to see some sources, Dane or Dane. I don't know if this is Vince is trying to instigate a Dr. Dane versus Dr. Dave fight. I don't know if we need to fight, but
Look,
I
it's
haven't
the
watched any documentaries about it though. I'll say that.
it's the end times, dude. There's no fighting in the end times. There's just warlords and trying to survive. Which that's the other thing. If we're in apocalypse and you have to survive, I'm not going to survive. That's it for me. It was a good run. I'm glad I got as many years as I did of peace, but I don't want to live in that world. So it never like, oh, AI is going to bring about the apocalypse. If that's the way it's going, that's the way it's going. So take me out. I don't want to be here for that. You know what I mean?
Well, it makes you think. It's like, what would you contribute? We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
What is it? It makes you think about as a human being, like, what do I actually contribute? Like,
Sure.
you know, Like Vince can go up. Vince is great at Photoshop, Whiskey Vince. But like you
There's no
can't do that.
power
You
grid.
can't do
Yeah.
that in an apocalypse. So like what are you going to do if you start a commune in a post-apocalyptic society? You're the only human beings left. What are you actually going to contribute? And I kind of had a hard time thinking of things.
Are you attacking me right now, Dave? What are you going to contribute, Whiskey Vince? You can't produce.
Well, you got to think, what are you going to contribute in an apocalypse?
I actually had a question.
I don't really have anything good. That's what I'm saying. I mean,
I'm kind of the same, but I do have fun little knowledge. Eli was talking about drinking vodka for radiation. Have you heard of the babushkas of Chernobyl? A documentary about grandmas that live in Chernobyl still and just drink whiskey all day and live in the radiated zone.
what?
Yeah, dude, they did not want to leave their home, so when everyone left and everything just melted, they were just like, "Nah, I'm good." It's just a whole
And
bunch
they're
of
right because they're still there.
They're still there,
What he's
and they
leaving out
still
though
have
is that
two
they
arms.
have extra fingers.
They have
which
multiple
is arguable
eyes.
if that's a bad thing or not.
That's fine, dude. I'll go with that.
They already had those fingers.
Dude, they're hell on the baseball field though. Let me tell you, that extra finger gives you a lot to work with.
Just home runs all day.
Which movie or TV show is most like the apocalypse in your mind?
What does that mean?
Like what am I referencing when I think of the apocalypse?
Yeah, I do want to know what kind.
I almost feel like the thing that caused the apocalypse is kind of irrelevant. It's more just like if you're thinking about the fact that like everyone's gone basically. Like maybe there's just there's like a person here and there that's left, and you kind of have to find each other and start little colonies, or you die, kind of a thing. Like,
So
what would
last
you
man
do?
on Earth.
Like if you're like, oh, I found like 22 other people that are like around for miles and miles, and I don't know what else is out there. Like everything else is gone. Like what do we do? What was the TV show?
Last Man on Earth.
Last Man on Earth. It kind of makes me think about that, right? Like
The first 5 episodes of that series are great.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Until
yeah,
he
yeah,
finds
I
people.
agree.
Honestly, the pilot is like I could go back and watch the pilot whenever. It's like one of the funniest things ever.
It's
and,
very
you know.
good.
yeah,
But
the
that-
commune in The Last of Us. That's a pretty good example too.
I thought The Last of Us did a great job of kind of visualizing that world. And you know, again, I'm not referencing the video game, even though I just bought it. But anyway, the visuals of that show did a good job of showing you kind of like the way nature would overtake, you know, our modern world and industrial zones and all that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say The Last Man on Earth is kind of something I think of. And I think like it's, in my opinion, it's fun to think about. Like it makes you it captures your imagination, because you're like, what would I do if there was nobody here, if there's no checks and balances of other humans to tell me no, like, you know, if there's no authority or anything. It's
Well, I
real
know what
freedom.
you would do because I watched you play Red Dead Online,
I'd
and
kill people.
you're an animal, dude. You just
Yeah.
kill people for fun. You string them up. I hope that you'd be on my side during a post-apocalyptic.
Sure.
I'll just say that.
I don't think, you know, I think if this podcast proves anything, it is that I would be on your side. You
I
know,
don't know. It's hard to say, dude.
now if you charge me at a saloon for whiskey, that might change things. You know, my I still have morals in Red Dead. They're hard to find, but they're still there. You know,
What moral? Like, who would you compare that to? What morals are we talking about?
who would I compare it to? I don't know, Genghis Khan. Who else? You know, it's really about like, did you ride by me on your horse, and did you get a little bit too close to me? Because that's a sign of disrespect. It's really a respect. It's primal, is what it is. It goes back to, you know, evolution and the apes and whatever else you want to contribute. But I think, yeah, I would be an absolute bastard in a post-apocalypse. But then there's the other part that's like, me as a real human being, not in the, you know, not killing NPCs. Like, if I don't think I have the stomach to really be a warlord. So I don't know. I'd fall somewhere in between.
You would like they would make you their chief, and you'd be like the warlord, and then you would quickly be like, I don't really want to do this.
Yeah, it would just be like my life now, where I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And then 2 days in, when I'm like, you know, when I have to actually do it, I'm like, I don't know about this. Did I overcommit? You know, you don't want to overcommit in the apocalypse, because where else is there to go? And you can't make an excuse for things, because everybody else is like, dude, what do you mean you can't make it tonight? It's the apocalypse. You don't have anywhere to go.
Yeah, it makes you think, dude. And like, I don't know, like you need real skills in an apocalypse. Like you need to like be able to do things with your hands and like build things. and like do practical, like fix things, and I can't do any of that. That's the problem. Like
I
I'm
don't know,
not.
man.
I don't know. Like maybe I could like negotiate or something. I could like negotiate like furs or something like that.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
know. It's hard. It's hard.
I'd have to probably still, I'd probably be okay to negotiate a bumper to bumper warranty. But yeah, it would definitely be difficult. You'd have to, it would teach you about who you are as a human being and what like you really felt about things. And gone, you can kiss goodbye the days of like, well, how do you feel about this? That doesn't exist anymore. Now it's like,
Yeah.
oh, does that animal have fresh meat inside of itself? Then I'm going to kill it and eat it.
Although Diener Dean says I can offer education, security, and snuggles, I actually feel like
Mm.
snuggles like kind of still have a good benefit because I feel like you still need like an emotional connection.
Yeah, but if I'm my Red Dead character talking, I'm gonna say that's a sign of weakness. Okay, because I know that you have that emotion and you care about other people, which means that I can hang that over your head. You want to snuggle that person because you feel bad for them? Well, how about I kidnap them and make you give me all of your gold bits for me to release them because I know how much you care about that person. So I don't know. It's a weighted scale, dude. You got to
So
measure it out.
don't let Eli into your commune is basically what
Yeah,
you're saying. Don't
and
ever
don't
do
let me
that.
babysit.